squared up.
Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem and Baruch Haba. Welcome to our advanced studies here at Congregation Mashiach Yisrael. My name is Scott Siskin, and tonight we're going to be studying our beloved Tanya, chapter 51, winding down in the Tanya. Mi yiftach hatana b'tafilu uvracha. Who would like to open us with prayer and a blessing? Do you have that?
I'm looking.
Oh, we should have probably set that up before the camera started. Huh?
Right. Oh, here it is. Okay.
Quick stall.
Quick.
Thank you.
Ruler of the universe and master of all masters, the Father of mercy and forgiveness, we thank you, our God and the God of our fathers, by bowing down and kneeling, that you brought us closer to your Torah and your holy work, and you enable us to take part in the secrets of your holy Torah. How worthy are we that you grant us with such big favor. That is the reason we plead before you, that you will forgive and acquit all our sins, and that they should not bring separation between you and us. May it be your will before you, our God and the God of our fathers, that you will awaken and prepare our hearts to love and revere you. And may you listen to our utterances and open our closed heart to the hidden studies of your Torah. And may our study be pleasant before your place of honor, as the aroma of sweet incense. And may you emanate to us light from the source of our soul to all our being. And may the sparks of your holy servants, through which you revealed your wisdom to the world, shine. May their merit and the merit of their fathers and the merit of your Torah, of their Torah and holiness support us, so we shall not stumble through our study, and by their merit enlighten our eyes and our learning, as it is stated by King David, the sweet singer of Israel. Open my eyes so that I may see wonders from your Torah. Tehillim 119:18. Because from the mouth of God gives wisdom and understanding, may the utterances of my mouth and the thoughts of my mind find favor before you, God, my strength and my Redeemer.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah.
Amen.
I'll have to get you a printout for that next week. Alrighty, so tonight we're going to be studying chapter 51 of Tanya. 51 starts a new section. So any of us who were very excited about the 10-chapter marathon of love and fear, you can get excited about a new section now. These are the last 3 chapters of Tanya. Again, we're winding down. The title of this section is Revealing God's Presence in the World. Revealing God's Presence in the World is the title of this short 3-chapter section, which ends Book 1 of Tanya. Made a bracha earlier. These 3 chapters are going to pick up off on the heels of chapters 35, 36, and 37, which we concluded several weeks ago in our course of study here. Chapters 35, 6, and 7 talked about the most important, primary, fundamental thing that we need to do for God, which is, of course, doing the mitzvahs. We have to do the mitzvahs. All the kavanah in the world, all of the emotion and all of the love and fear of God and all of the concentration and spiritual focus and meditation and admiration that we have towards God, or everybody has towards God, will not take one step towards tikkun olam unless we connect it to an action, to a mitzvah, because we live here in the world of asiyah, the world of action. Therefore, if we want to connect to God, if we want to reveal God here in this lowliest place, we need to do mitzvahs. And that's how mitzvahs are graded. That's how they're judged. 1s and 0s. Either you did it or you didn't, right? There's one way to do a mitzvah. Kavanah, on the other hand, our intention, our minds, our hearts, our love and fear of God when we do a mitzvah is very individualistic, as we said earlier. And as such, it goes through many, many levels of gradation, and everybody's unique and everybody's individual. How they relate to God, that's where kavanah comes in. So after, in chapters 35, 6, and 7, we talked about the fundamental primary obligation and importance of doing the mitzvahs, making a dwelling place for God down here on earth. Then we took this, I guess you could say, 13-chapter detour, talking about love and fear and what kavanah really is, so that we could actually connect to God in our way, and that could be something that's revealed, and that can help to power all the rest of our mitzvahs. As we said, a bird without wings, mitzvah without love and fear is alive, but it can't fly. It can't soar up. So, as a result, chapter 51, chapter 52, and chapter 53, which are going to conclude the Tanya, are going to be talking about, again, the primary goal of everything that it is that we've learned here in Tanya. What have we learned in Tanya? We learned who we are, what the world is, who God is, what our relationship to Him is, what our powers are, what our temptations and trials are, what our weaknesses are, what are the things we cannot do, what are the things that we should do. And after we've learned all this stuff, which is essentially the first 25 chapters of Tanya, we're now going to apply, and we're going to see what is it that God wants us to do already with all of this information that we've been given. And that's what chapters 35, 36, and 37 were about. After our Kavanah detour, now we're going to come back and cap that idea. And it's all about making a dwelling place for God down here on earth, dira betachtonim, so that God could live with us here, revealed in this physical world, as opposed to in the spiritual world someplace. And that's our primary mission and goal, revealing God down here, which essentially ushers in the world to come, the Messianic redemption. The chapter title of this week's chapter is called Kadosh HaKadoshim, the Holy of Holies. The Holy of Holies. And the short summary, excuse me, the schmata here, I'm schwitzing. Short summary, based on our handy-dandy and beloved map of Tanya, is Holy of Holies. If God is omnipresent, if he's everywhere, what does it mean that his presence dwelt in the Holy of Holies in Jerusalem? We say, where is the headquarters of godliness? It's the temple. It's the Temple Mount. It's the temple. It's the Holy of Holies. His voice emanates from between the cherubim, etc., etc. The soul, and this is the parable and the analogy that we're getting in chapter 51, still part of our introduction, our short summary. The soul may fill the body, but its powers are centralized in the brain. So if God is everywhere, how could you say that he's revealed in Jerusalem? It's in the same way that our soul fills our entire bodies, down to the toenails. However, it's headquartered and its powers are centralized and localized in the brain. Which is why you can live, God forbid, without a toenail. It's very difficult to live without a brain. Right? Thank you. You're allowed to laugh.
I just heard something fascinating about this soul. Now I can't remember what I wrote.
But at the moment,
functions.
it escapes your brain.
There's that, right? So again, if we want to say, and again, remember the pattern and the message that the Alter Rebbe is trying to deliver to us, if we're trying to reveal God down here on earth, well, where is God, right? Here, there, everywhere, up, down, and right. Everywhere is God. God is the omnipresent. We call him Hamakum, the place, because the place of the world is in God, but God's place is not in the world. So as such, God is everywhere. As it says in the prophets, do I not fill both the heavens and the earth? So what does it mean that we want God to be present here with us? We want him to dwell down here with us. Isn't that sacrilege? Isn't that a little bit of apostasy? Can we say that God could be here and not there? That's kind of idolatrous, isn't it? So again, the analogy that we're going to be using is the same as our soul filling the body. Just as God fills all the worlds, he is more revealed in Jerusalem. Just as our soul fills our body, our godliness and what sets us apart from animals is more revealed in the functions of our brain than it is in other places.
That is what the
Shekhinah, sure.
Shekinah refers to as the dwelling. Revealed presence of God.
Right. Well, that's why we
Revealed
say it's the
dwelling
revealed presence, because you can't just say that God's dwelling here and not there. It means he's revealed here and concealed there, even though he is everywhere. Right?
That's what I meant.
But the word shachan means dwell, but literally we have to interpret that as being revealed here. Right? You're absolutely right. So let's jump into the text. To return to and to further elucidate the expression of the Yanuka mentioned earlier, again, this is coming off of the heels of chapter 35 after our long detour talking about kavanah, love and fear of God, our hearts and our minds as we do the mitzvah, as we connect to God. Let's see, to elucidate the expression of the Yanuka is a section of Zohar, I believe it's in Parshat Balak, where it talks about this small child who was very wise, sagacious, very wise little kid. And he gave all kinds of interesting bits of Torah to the people who were looking for it. It's a fantastic story if you'd like to read it. And that's in the Zohar. And we again first mentioned this in chapter 35, I believe, or at least that's the reference here now. It is necessary to first explain so that one may understand a little, right? Just a bissel, just a tiny little bit. All of this imagery that we're using here, don't think it's literal, right? This is a metaphor. This is a parable. This is an analogy. This is an allegory. We're saying it so that the human can hear, right? Because otherwise we wouldn't be able to understand these concepts at all. But we're going to say it with an anthropomorphism, and anthropomorphizing how God fills the heavens and the earth as according to how our soul fills the body, so that we could have a little taste, so we could understand a very little bit of how it actually works. The subject of the indwelling of the Shekhinah, the revealed dwelling presence of God's divine presence, which rested in the Kadosh HaKadoshim, the Holy of Holies, and likewise in all other places where the Shekhinah rested. Remember, God's divine presence rested in the Holy of Holies, which was in Jerusalem, but it wasn't always in Jerusalem, right? It was in Gilgal, and it was in Shiloh, and it was in the desert, and it was in lots of places, right? What is the meaning of this, says the Alter Rebbe? Manishtana, right? Is not the whole world filled of his glory? And surely there is no place void of him. So again, you can't say that God is here and not there. Then God is not perfect. Then God is not infinite. The clue to the understanding of this is to be found in the text from Job. From my flesh I see God. And this is interesting. We can take a look. Everything, again, is designed. How is the world designed? God pick it out of a hat? Let's go with humans, right? 2 arms, 2 legs, 10 toes. Or was it meaningful? Excuse me. How God designed us, our bodies, this world.
Well,
meaningful, right?
Yeah.
How so? Too lofty. It's a mirror. You're absolutely right. Keep going.
10 Sephirot.
It's a mirror of the 10 Sephirot, right? When God creates us in his image, it doesn't mean that God has 2 ears, 2 eyes, and a nose. It means that God has 10 attributes. God is wise, so we can be wise. God is understanding, so we can understand. God is kind, so we can be kind, etc., etc. God is royal, so we can have dignity, etc., etc. So, you can actually look at the fabric of the world, or the fabric of ourselves, which again is made by Torah, which is essentially the DNA of godliness, what created the whole universe. And you could have a little bissel, right? A little taste of what it's like on high, right? You want to know what God's love is? You could look at someone like Abraham, who loved so selflessly, right? Is it exactly like God? Not even close. Not even close. But it's like a little bit, right? So if God's love is like a tree, Abraham said, I am but dust and ashes, as we learned earlier in the Tanya, right? It's after the fire is, the energy in the tree is gone, after the moisture is gone, after all the air is fizzled out, and now you're just left with the dirt, with the ash after you burn the log. That's what Abraham's love is compared to God's love, right? So we can understand a little bit. And this again is what Job said, from my flesh I see God. This is very similar to Patach Eliyahu, Elijah's famous prayer where he relates the 10 Sefirot to the limbs of the body, right? Chesed is the right arm, Gevurah is the left arm, Netzach and Yesod are the right and left legs, and so on and so forth. The analogy is from the soul of a human being, which pervades all 248 organs of the body, from head to foot, yet its principal habitation and abode is in his brain, whence it is diffused throughout all the organs, each of which receives its vitality and its power appropriate to it, according to its composition and character. The eye for seeing, and the ear for hearing, the mouth for speaking, and the feet for walking. Each one is getting this power from its soul, and it's being expressed purposefully through the organ that is associated with that power, that ability. As we clearly sense that in the brain, one is conscious of everything that's affected in the 248 organs and everything that's experienced by them, right? If, God forbid, you stub your toenail, right? You feel it, and your brain certainly knows, right? You go, ow, ow, and you jump around. People say, what's wrong? So you know everything that's happening in your body. So also God fills all the worlds and knows what's happening throughout all the worlds. And this is kind of interesting too. I mean, it makes a lot of sense to me. I have a scientific mind a little bit, but if you look, the brain, is one of these places that touches every single part of your body. The only other place it's like it is the heart, because it pumps blood throughout all the other areas of the body, and blood helps every part of the body, and you need the blood, of course, but it's your brain that's controlling different things. Your brain can shut or widen blood vessels. Your brain can tell things to grow in distant parts of your body. It can send messages for this or that or whatever the other thing is. So if it says the soul contains the power to see, and then the soul's located in the brain, headquartered in the brain, though it fills the whole body, you can see that the brain has neurons that extend into the eye, right? And these neurons that make up the retina, the back part of your eye, are very complex, and they are able to take photons, take light particles that are hitting the back of your eye, and it makes a chemical reaction that triggers a little thing in your brain that makes you be able to see, Baruch Hashem, and it's awesome, and it's beautiful, and it's complex, and it's amazing, right? Mm-hmm. But those nerves, right, are only available in the eye. You're not going to be able to see those nerves that change when photons hit them in your toe, for example, or in your stomach. It's going to be different. The neurons that are in your stomach create things that make for acid to be built up and things like that so that you can digest your food. So the brain is connected to every different part of the body and enables that part of the body to be able to do whatever its function is based on the powers of the soul. So the body is really a reflection of the powers of the soul, which again is a reflection of the attributes of God. Pretty neat, huh? So again, if you have a scientific brain, this might help out and might work a little bit easier for you. Excuse me, I'm schwitzing. Now, the variation in the acquisition of powers and vitality by the organs of the body from the soul is not due to the soul's essence and being, for this would make its core and essence divisible into 248 parts, vested in 248 loci, according to the various forms and locations of the organs of the body. That's not the way it works, right? We don't say that there's a piece of the soul that's connected to the eye, and there's a piece of the soul that's connected to the ear. We say that the soul has the power to see and has the power to hear, and that's all one. It's all one entity. So when that power of the soul is diffused through the organ of the eye, it's going to come out like sight. When that same power of the soul is diffused, or the same energy of the one soul is diffused through the organ of the ear, you get the power of hearing, and so on and so forth. So you can't say that the soul is divisible. The soul is one, like God is one, right? Yet it fills the whole body and powers different things based on the material of whatever it is it's powering. Kind of like electricity is flowing into the building, right? And some of it's used for lights, and that takes a certain amount of electricity, and some of it's used for a television, which might take more, or air conditioning, which would be nice. That would take a little bit more energy, or a different kind of energy, and you have transformers, and you have circuit breakers, and all kinds of different things like this that can take that powerful energy, which is just one amount of energy, and diffuse it into various different devices, right? Kind of same. So it's not